What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knotts, and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns, 5 scariest YouTube exclusive documentaries. Number 5. A documentary known as Teenage Exorcist is a must-see for anyone who's a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The film tells the story of 3 young girls who are followers of Bob Larson, a television evangelist with a somewhat dark past of his own. Larson is known for having infamously started his own school of exorcism and makes claims that at least 50% of the world is possessed by some sort of demon. According to Bob, the simple act of reading a Harry Potter book could cause you to become possessed, though he takes it one step further and claims that if you've been the victim of sexual abuse, you're likely possessed as well. The 3 young girls in the film are taking a trip across Ukraine, where a strangely large number of people requested assistance from these women. The 3 of them are known to prey on the emotionally weak and desperate, with Bob preaching the crowd into a frenzy, then inviting a member of the crowd onto the stage. He then essentially inflicts psychological warfare upon them, breaking them down until he believes their demons have truly revealed themselves. The 3 young women will then take the stage with crosses and Bibles and begin to supposedly cast out demons. The film explains how these young women are just as victimized as the people in the crowd. Bob has raised these girls in a house of lies for as long as they can remember, insisting to them that they're doing the Lord's work, yet it's all a cover-up for some sort of massive scheme. It's difficult to blame the girls at all for their actions or beliefs, as Bob is truly a convincing man. It's difficult to imagine growing up in such a hostile environment as this, but it's these girls' real lives. Number 4. Many years ago, Louis Manchego was a known murderer who made a living by inflicting pain or even death on others. In fact, he even took the life of his own abusive brother with an axe. Though today, Louis is a much different man. Instead of taking out his emotions on the streets or with violence, he's turned to art as a way to express his inner demons. Louis is regarded as being a large man, covered in tattoos, and certainly not someone you'd feel necessarily safe around. Though these days, he's as harmless as a housefly. Louis says that he's turned his life around after he found both God and art. He says that his goal is to use his art as a way to empower others to seek change in their own lives, adding that art is both cool and powerful. He says that he tells his story often to show how even the greatest of outlaws can change and get their lives on the right track. Louis's paintings are quite unique when taking his past into consideration. He says that he's inspired to paint by famous dictators, evil politicians, angels, and terrorists. One particular painting he's specifically proud of is one that depicts him taking the life of Alan Garcia, a politician with a difficult past of his own. Louis says that knives are a common theme in his art because he carries a giant blade to defend himself from any thugs who may want to harm him or rob him, telling the story of a thug who actually attempted to sexually assault him once. Louis tells his story with a strange sense of proudness and a similar tone to how your great uncle tells his war stories. Many of Louis's paintings are definitely concerning and a bit disturbing, but Louis claims that his art is a way for him to free himself from his evil desires or thoughts. As strange as it may seem, it certainly appears as though this man, who was previously the most violent of violent men, has turned his life around with a paintbrush. The film From Psycho to Painter tells Louis's story. Number 3. These next few documentaries are less surface-level scary, and rather scary in a more psychological way. Bolivian culture these days doesn't really allow for children to have a childhood, at least not in the typical Western sense of the word. In Bolivia, there are estimated to be at least 1 million children who are working full-time in silver mines or on the streets. Child labor is still technically illegal in the country, however, children have since developed their own union, which has put a lot of these laws on hold for the time being, as many of these children are known to have risen to protest against these strict rules. The kids say that it isn't necessarily that they want to live this way, but rather their culture demands it. Their families require money that just two working parents aren't likely to be able to provide. It's common to see the children in Bolivia working as bus announcers and balloon salesmen, with many of these kids leaving the education system to instead help their parents provide food for their families. However, many have suggested that this has instead created a cycle in which kids aren't properly educated to get high-paying jobs, so they get stuck in a loop of uneducated kids becoming uneducated adults, who then raise uneducated kids to do the same. What's arguably the most disturbing segment of the whole documentary, though, is a 13-year-old boy who tells the story of how his brother took his own life due to the harsh living conditions. He then elaborates on the story and shares that he's known several children who've retired from their work because they became addicted to either drugs or alcohol. The film, known as Bolivia's Child Laborers, tells the story of these young men. Number 2. On the surface, Ponchatoula seems like your typical small town in Southern America. It's full of friendly, easygoing people with simple lives and even simpler jobs. However, the town has a much darker history than you'd likely imagine, involving Satan worship, animal sacrifices, and even pedophilia. This is all due to the town's main church, known as Hosanna Church. For a while, Hosanna was a typical family-oriented church. However, they soon got a new pastor who saw things in a different way. Louis LaMonica Jr. had different plans for this church. Many of the regular attendees left the church after Louis was hired as their pastor, though a small group of people remained behind, who were then subjected to Louis's brainwashing and twisted ways of thinking. The church was then known to have committed some of the most unbelievable acts you could imagine, complete with bloody baptisms, flaming pentagrams, and scriptures written across the walls in invisible ink. The documentary, known as The Real True Detective, tells the story of the church's rise and fall, and the prosecution of 3 of its leaders. The film mostly focuses on a man named Stuart Murphy, a local detective who used some rather unorthodox interrogation techniques to get to the bottom of the crimes that were taking place within the Hosanna Church. After his investigation concluded, Murphy stated, "What I don't like about being a detective is that it seems like you never get a sense of accomplishment, because there's always more stuff to do tomorrow." Number 1. This final documentary is by far the most terrifying, as literally any one of us could be victimized by this strange substance, possibly without even knowing until it's too late. There exists a drug known as scopolamine, or devil's breath. The drug is most commonly used around Colombia by criminal gangs, as it places the victim in a trance-like state, in which they both lose their memory and any sense of free will. They essentially become walking zombies that will do almost anything you tell them to. In many cases, the drug is used to have individuals hand over their car keys or even empty their bank accounts. A nurse from the area said that the most common occurrence is for a victim to go to a party, then wake up 2 or 3 days later on a park bench with no belongings or money. The drug is both tasteless and odorless, and can be activated through the stomach or simply by breathing it in. Victims have ranged from high-ranking politicians down to regular Colombian citizens. The drug does have certain medical uses, such as to treat Parkinson's and motion sickness, but it's most commonly and almost exclusively used for its mind-controlling effects. Back during the Holocaust, the drug was known to have been used by a Nazi who utilized it as a type of truth serum. The CIA also used the drug as part of its MKUltra experiments a few decades ago. Even in the 70s, the drug was being used to exploit women and children. It was even used by criminals as an effective tool for kidnapping. In a more recent occurrence, the drug was used on the parents of a 7-year-old girl who willingly gave their daughter up to criminals. She was found 2 months later, but her parents had obviously no knowledge of what had taken place and no memory of the attackers. The documentary, The World's Scariest Drug, tells the story of Devil's Breath and the stories of those who have experienced it. The film gives dark insight into a strange and twisted world of crime taking place in Colombia, as well as other parts of the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.